Well, let's get started. Working session. Board committees. Meet and confer.
Meet and confer. We met, we conferred, we talked predominantly about the survey, not that the results were available. I think it was the first time that the two, Bobby Joe and Liz Tangy had seen that. They'd seen the results. So, I mean, they don't have a good take on it, but they were pleased with the way it was presented, the way it got out there, and were pleasantly surprised at the fact that it had as much of a response as it did. They claim to have talked it up, not big time, but kept suggesting to people get it done, right? Isn't that the sense you got? And we're pleased that, you know, the percentages they got it in there.
It was 59 out of 84.
84, right. So
took the survey.
Not an apathetic turnout is, I guess, what they were pleased with that. So good. And that segued itself into a discussion about some of the more obvious questions, you know, which were ways of really getting the public and the board specifically, but more involved in the day-to-day around the school, you know, different ways of improving, because they always come into a meet and confer, and one of our topics will always be morale. You know, how's the staff doing? And I don't think they felt it was low, but they did suggest that, you know, the more that we can attend, the more we can see, the more we're, you know, on a day-to-day basis, see the good and the bad, you know, the ups and downs.
Just making that connection.
Yeah, and so I appreciate that openness. So anyway, there's an effort out there, and we'll see where they go with it, but trying to keep us more in the loop, you know, when certain special things are happening, but also wanted to make it clear to the public and the board that they are not adverse to having people come into their classrooms. You know, probably better idea if you at least alert them to the fact than just showing up and starting to look for some reason. But anyway, really are encouraging of that. So anyway, it was a good meet and confer. And I think that was the gist of it. I'm not missing anything else on that, am I? I mean,
no, that was the brunt of it.
Spoke for about an hour about
I mean, we talked about just a lot of different ideas, like maybe one or two board members sitting in on a staff meeting.
Yes, elementary staff meeting.
Or high school staff meeting. Or stuff
good
like
to
that.
know, because I would think, coming from a slightly different world, that when you have board members getting involved in day-to-day things in other entities, that is probably, like, why are they here? What are they doing? You
Well,
know,
that was
what
part
are
of
they
the
looking
discussion
for,
is really
you know?
what is the role of a board member and how involved are we supposed to be in that
Micromanaging
day-to-day and
that
what
work.
our role is. I mean, that was part of the topic, and
They acknowledged that there would be an ebb and flow to this, and, you know, much like any other, I mean, pick something, but they're, at the moment, they would love to have board members in there. They reserve the right to tell us to get lost, you know, in the near future if that becomes overbearing. So, I mean, they were open-minded with it, but they just thought it was a good time to keep the board in there, especially when we are talking about different things in our school, like physically, like things like windows and doors and, you know, the buildings and grounds part of it, but also the emotional part of trying to get the public to pass a referendum. You really want, you know, inside info kind of, or at least a much stronger contact. So, and I take that personally. I don't have kids in the school anymore, so I have to make an effort to get in here, and I appreciate the invite.
Okay. Anyone else for that? Then we'll move right along to the school forest.
I was not there, so giving that over.
well, we talked about the shed. And it's going to get anchors put in.
Yep.
Yep.
At least that was tipped over.
Yep. With a wind.
Because
Very
of the
strong
wind.
wind.
That was like a while ago, but
yeah, but
It's back up right now.
yeah.
Yeah. We talked about Bears in the Bog, that 2-day event that Bobby Joe handles the coordination for a lot of that. So that's going to happen again this year. And what else? I think next meeting we're going to do just a walk around and kind of look at upcoming projects and needs and maybe a vision for 5 years type of deal.
Well, we tried to come up with ideas of more things that the school classrooms do out there. Planting trees, or Andy had an idea. I can't think of it right now.
But
yeah.
Yeah, his class is going to plant trees now. So we got some trees for him. Yeah.
I think that was it.
That's kind of, it was a short one.
The bog was the big part of it, getting dates picked and
Yeah.
making sure volunteers were there.
And we do have donation covered at transportation.
It's a nice trip for the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he's gonna put together the flyer, that's what it was. He's gonna put all the things that we did, or going to do, I forget what it's called.
It's the state report.
His report that he does.
Yeah. That's what he's doing.
Do they still take the kids to the last 40 ever? That I always thought that was kind of neat. They used to do that.
Class that goes.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, is it tomorrow, Sam? I mentioned that to you. Bobby Joe had said that at Meet and Confer that they had.
A picnic tomorrow
Tomorrow, isn't it?
at 10:50 to 11:30.
Yeah, it just
Yes.
occurs to me, and I'm gonna try to get to that, but that was an invite, to a.
You can have Ivor as your kid, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, you can have a picnic with him.
Okay, fair enough. Sam,
Okay.
you shouldn't be laughing in the background, Sam. All right, well, I will meet Ivor there tomorrow.
Okay,
Lynn, you up for that?
deal.
No,
Okay,
I'm gone. I'm gone tomorrow, I'm out of town.
all right.
He packs good snacks, just so you know. You have snacks.
You have to pack your own picnic,
Yeah,
right?
you gotta
Oh, so I
pack,
gotta bring something.
unless you talk to Jackie and you get a sack lunch. Yeah.
Or you mooch off of.
Shows up there with a Subway sandwich and the
Yeah.
kids are just eating. It's got cookies and chips. So, I guess we'll go on to buildings and grounds.
I will talk briefly about it, but you were there, so you can chime in. We did two different things. We had a buildings and grounds meeting with the staff, talking about the memorandum of understanding in terms of the hourly increases for one employee and the licensure raises. Is that the way to term that? Would that be appropriate, Dale?
Stipend, are they stipends or raises?
For the
I guess it
certificates
doesn't
or
really matter.
stipends, yeah.
Okay, but anyway, how those apply here now going forward, in light of the fact that we're changing a little bit of the guard around and removing positions, and had also some specific discussion about some cost-saving efforts, the conglomeration of orders, for instance, trying to get things all under one umbrella in terms of ordering. We duplicate a lot of products, that type of thing. Which licensures, for instance, would be most appropriate, who carried what. I mean, that was the general discussion. And then had this is a separate night, that was on Tuesday, I think, and then on Thursday had the staff take us on a tour of the building.
The walkthrough, yep.
And it just, hands-on as to exactly what it is when we hear it in a meeting, what's not going right out there, what's broken, what needs replacement, and the actual practical value of doing that, in any one, so it gives you a little bit of an idea of what the hierarchy is when we look at improving things, why we are so desperately talking windows, for instance, or flooring, or tiles, what's going on in the heat room, what's going on in the pool. So appreciate the tour and the time, because it was after hours, it was a late one. These guys took us on a solid hour and a half tour, and I think they would have done more if we'd been able to handle it. I mean, add on, you guys were all on that,
And we have another one this Thursday, right?
yeah, we're gonna try the outside
I
stuff.
think, I'm gonna address that.
Oh.
Yeah,
I think,
we have to reschedule.
Jeff would mention that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I can add anything to that. How about you, Lynn?
No,
We concur.
but it kind of segued right into the next one.
Yeah.
All right, we'll segue right into that then with update on working sessions.
Because that was a working session,
That was
right?
one of the
Yes,
working
that was the
sessions.
That
working
was
session.
the working session on the 18th, that they did that tour, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You gonna talk about working sessions at all when you get going, or?
Not in great detail, but I can discuss. Part of the reason we did the tour and looked at quite a few things, but the main purpose was to look at the projects that are in the facility assessment and determining which ones we want to prioritize, which ones are not as urgent, that can be put on hold for a number of years. The boilers, for example, is something that came up that, yes, they're aged, but does it make sense to replace them at this point? So, and that's a $1-point-something million piece in a referendum that probably we can take that off our priority list. So, without getting into specific details, I mean, that's kind of, after we do the next tour, we will sit down and compare notes and start whittling off those things that we feel we can get by without or have an alternative for replacement. So that we're just asking what our specific facility needs are for a referendum for the lot.
And as long as it's on, I know we invited anybody at that time who was in the room. Like there were two of them, I think, 2 or 3 members of the public, but 2 of the 3 came along with us, said, fine. So I would encourage again, if people have questions about, you know, the windows or the sidewalks, to come in on a Thursday night. We seem to be pretty regular at this point with these working sessions, and feel free to tag along. It's informative. I think we're going to try the roof on the next one, aren't we? Dale was threatening it anyway, right?
Or if a couple of you want to just come in one afternoon and we'll take a tour.
Lynn?
Those stairs are way too nasty for us.
There's no way. You don't have to worry about getting me up or down. Because I'm not going.
We can take pictures if you want.
No, I'm fine. I believe you.
But I throw that out there kind of casually and say somebody, you know, should tag along, but I think a lot of us were not aware of actually all the stuff that we have under this roof. I mean, even being board members or whatnot, but things like a racquetball court, things like a second greenhouse, you know, things that the public would not be aware of because really have never been used in this building, but they're still under the, you know, under the confines of it. So there's more going on here than meets the eye.
Just to clarify, we do not have a racquetball court.
Well, it's a big storage closet now, I understand that.
Yes, and the intentions were there, but they didn't meet ADA requirements, and to stick another elevator in that area just wasn't practical, so we don't want to start any rumors. That
We have storage closets.
They're very
large.
Looks like a racquetball court.
So we definitely don't want to mention the bowling alley.
Resurrecting the racquetball. Resurrecting racquetball.
Is that the headline?
Jeff's coming forward, you're not helping. There is no bowling alley.
But then as they were building and ran out of funds, they put in a stairway instead of an elevator, and now you have what we affectionately call a graveyard.
Although there are some gems in there. I went and dug around. Still got some good stuff in there.
All right, anything else that covers the working sessions? Anything anyone else think worth mentioning? Then we'll go right into the superintendent report.
So the first thing on my list is the enrollment. K-12, we're down 1 student since the end of March. And that came out of the kindergarten classes down to 27 students. We did increase 1 in 7th grade, but then we lost the 11th grader, so it's kind of a wash in the high school. So we're at 199 in K-12 and 228 in 6 through 12. Staff updates, Tim alluded to the MOUs, interim lead
How
custodian.
many in 6 through 12?
6 through 12, 228.
We gained a 10th grader today.
Okay, I can't keep up with
Sorry.
the day-to-day counts, but
You say that like this, like, yeah, we found one.
okay.
We found one.
Yeah, up in the graveyard. So the MOUs, interim lead custodian, and it's on an action item for the board meeting, will be appointing Kyle Abendroth. Cost for fiscal year '24 is approximately $2,644, and this goes back to, I don't have the exact date, but a time in February when Seth left and he started taking over some of the extra duties, so there'll be some back pay for this year. For next year, FY25, approximately $7,800 roughly will be additional salary. We did a hike in his hourly rate to coincide with the added duties and expectations. And then the interim lead maintenance technician, Dale Fuller, will be appointed. Estimate for this year is 0. For next year, about 2,100, based on there's some criteria, like the Massmus boot camp was one of them. That'd be like $1 increase stipend. And then there's some other ones that they can work towards. So those are appointments by board action tonight, and there's also in your board packet is the MOU agreement that I made with MSEA with these changes. And these costs, we have to remember, I'm going to call them just add backs, because we estimated roughly $60,000 as a cost savings for absorbing and not hiring a new buildings and grounds supervisor for next year. So we'll be, when we're all done, we'll be coming back to you and saying, here are the actual estimated with the add backs. And there's a few other positions where we've reassigned duties and asking people to do more, and so we have to work with the unions to adjust their salaries a little bit, so that's going to cost a little bit to save a little bit is what we're doing. So hopefully by May or the June board meeting for sure, we'll have a detailed outline on what we projected, what our add backs were, so here's the net savings for these reductions. Any questions on any of those? Also on action items tonight is the proposal for ULA, and that's unrequested leave of absence. And this is the first formal step for cutting a tenured or continuing contract staff person. And we're proposing the elimination of one of the school social worker positions. That person is tenured, continuing contract. ULA entitles those persons, whether it's a teacher or a school social worker, if there's an opening within the next 5 years, they have right to recall. So that's kind of protects them long term. If something happens and there's an opening, as long as they let us know by, I think it's April 1st of each year, that they want to be considered for any opening positions that they're licensed to, they have right to that position if one comes open. Once this is approved, there'll be a letter, and they have 14 days to request a hearing before the board, and there's a bunch of steps with that if we get to that point. If not, then the final resolution will probably be in the May board meeting, but we have to have it done by July 1. So for sure the latest we could do it would be June. So when we do this action, it'll be a roll call vote. So just make sure that we do that. Auditor dispute, I've run out of phone calls, emails, have not made any progress with their auditor from last year. So we did send the letter for disengagement to them. I have not had a response from them. So I'm asking your direction. Next step would be to contact the lawyer, give them the information, say we feel we have grounds to argue why we're being charged an extra $5,000 inconvenience fee. It's not the first time that we've had an extra fee charged by an auditor for various reasons. So it's not unheard of. But I think we were all kind of frustrated with some of the services and the timing and everything that we dealt with. But how much time, energy, and cost do we want to put into a $5,000 bill? even though we are probably right and justified to argue it, just because we could doesn't mean we always want to. But I'm asking for your direction if you want me to pursue it and go that route. I would like some direction. If it's left up to me, I would just say pay the $5,000 would probably be money ahead than trying to go to small claims or making them go to small claims. And if you lose, then they have clauses in there after so many days they can add a percentage to it. So
if you do nothing, in other words, if this is money that we're not trying to get back, this is money we have yet to pay out.
No.
If you do nothing, you're thinking they'll file a small claims suit against it. I mean, they have to be looking at similar cost.
I would say that would be their next step if we didn't pay it. I don't know, that's a moral issue. I have a problem not paying bills, but even when I am right, so I just need your direction if you want us to sit on it. I can't remember what the extra fee is for late fees. I think we're in the 60-90 day range of.
I'd go with it. Depends on how what does the contract say and how did they arrive at that number. And obviously, I assume in your negotiations or back and forth to offer them less.
I did offer that. I asked to split the difference or reduction. In the contract, it's $3,000 to $5,000. Their argument is because they lost their staff members, they lost about $29,000 according to Nancy in extra staffing that they had to bring in to finish the audit.
Quite frankly, that sounds like a personal problem.
Well, I said that not in those exact terms, but we did have that conversation. They're claiming that there was, I can't remember what was the last thing that they were asking for.
That spreadsheet,
Yeah.
which I want a lot of information.
No.
So were we the limiting factor, or was it their employees were the limiting factor? Because it sounds like from what you just said, it was their staff.
Well, it was both. They also said we weren't prepared for audit, and I said, well, you weren't prepared to audit us either. I didn't receive anything prior to audit. Like in the past, Bailey or Brady Martins would send
I think we should
They
submit
send a list of what they need.
a list, spreadsheets, well over a month before the audit. So you have time to prepare and send them everything. I didn't get anything until a week before our audit.
Should we send them a $2,500 inconvenience audit fee?
Exactly. So I just stated, you can't expect me to whip our audit together within a few days. And they didn't reach out to our prior firm requesting information prior to our audit either, and that should be done.
And then wasn't there something with you gave them access to our,
Oh, they never went into
and they never went
our
into,
software once.
yeah.
I'm inclined to not reward bad behavior, even though it may be fiscally sound, but that's my opinion.
even, like,
I'm only.
Other firms, they'll send me spreadsheets. Can you fill out this spreadsheet? So it's their spreadsheet, so it's easier for them. Well, they didn't send me anything that they wanted filled out. So I used my own spreadsheets, which they didn't.
Does SMS have an opinion on this?
Well, I've actually shared this with Todd, and he said, he indicated we should go with a different auditing firm.
Which we did.
We should have already
Well,
done
we
it.
should.
We did.
I mean, the fact that when we got Hermantown's audit, a month late.
Did which happened first, the $5,000 inconvenience fee or us switching auditing firms?
They actually just sent that,
We just sent the disengagement letter today.
Okay.
well, we had it typed 2 months ago.
I know,
They
she had it
sent
typed
us
in
the
February, but
invoice.
we held on
Was
to
it
it.
2 months after auditing them?
No,
The additional.
something like that.
So it was like this afterthought of like, maybe we could get a little more money.
Yeah, since we're losing that business anyway, I mean, they must have known again that we weren't gonna go through there. It was just such a painful 6 months. I mean, I'm on that pound of flesh with Boyd. I mean, I'd
Do we
like
have any-
to, I'd like to believe it's not gonna be a large amount when you say 90-day fee, but I also seen those, you know, where your credit card fees or whatever get quite expensive.
But I did indicate, I said you didn't even look at our financials prior to the first day of audit. Most firms, I mean, they do their exports, they'll go into our software, because I created logins, and they're able to go in and pull whatever they need, and I send them everything. But I said, number one issue was you were not prepared to audit us. I didn't receive anything ahead of time.
Do we have any idea, like an estimate of what we could incur?
We just sat on it, trying
Yeah.
to look
But
at
into,
Or-
they said
or-
they
or
put in
for
a lot of
legal
extra
fees.
time. I
Right,
said,
to
I
meet,
did
right.
too. I mean, there was many nights I was emailing Nancy after midnight. I said, I don't get paid additional amount for all the extra work I had to put in.
I guess I'd be inclined to send the details to our lawyer,
Yep.
see what they think about,
Yep.
okay, you've got a very good case. The odds are in our favor if it does go to small claims court that we would prevail. And if they say, no, it won't, I mean, then.
Okay.
can
All right.
adjust that. But
So I will get a hold of the lawyer and,
does everyone else
See what
agree
she
with that?
says.
I don't want to
Okay.
be the only one
I
out
don't
there.
wanna
Well,
just
and
pay
give them a
it.
copy of the contract.
Yeah.
okay, I will take that initial step, so.
And, you know, kind of the issues that Sheena had as well, so
Mhm.
you're explaining that to
yeah,
them.
do we wanna put a cap on how much we're gonna pay the lawyer before we?
You go through the same one through Pemberton? I mean, they seemed pretty reasonable per our conversation the other day. I mean, I don't know if it's the same attorney that
It'll
you're
be
gonna.
like, she does all
I
of
mean, I
her
would
stuff.
think it'd be all of like an hour
An
for them
hour.
to look it over briefly and go, it's like, yeah, you guys have a case, or just settle with them.
All right.
Because you're not gonna win.
All right,
Just,
I,
yeah,
I know we're anticipating out of budget for our legal fees, so I didn't want to spend any more on legal fees without.
Yeah, we're trying to keep them tight, but
Okay,
I would just go with their recommendation.
okay,
yeah.
yeah,
So
let's
we'll
give it,
just-
like Boyd said, an hour of her time if she feels that's appropriate for it and
okay.
look it over. She's been reasonable. I mean,
Yeah.
she's understanding of it.
Yep, but Sheena provided me like a stack of emails and stuff like that, so at some point, if we pursue it, that would be what we would send to them, and that's when you start racking up
If I remember reading.
your expenses. But I'll do an initial, do we have a case? If so, is it worth the added expense and time to dig our heels in? Okay. Another update, we did submit insurance claim under property loss resulting from an employee to failure of an employee to faithfully perform their duties. It's kind of similar to an omissions and errors liability. I did send it over to Todd at SMS, and he was gonna submit the claim as well with his insurance. And that's just a wait and see what and I think you said the adjuster had gotten a hold of you already?
They called me last Wednesday, I wanna say, and she said she would review the case and call back in a few days.
Okay. So,
Is it kind of an amicable, hopeful thing with Todd, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
what's gonna happen is if insurance decides, yeah, they're gonna pay for it, they're gonna fight back and forth, our company and their company. That's the way it works, and I'm sure we won't recoup everything, and there'll be X percent is on SMS, the other percent is on Lake of the Woods, and that's how they're gonna divvy it out as far as responsibility, so.
I think it's good that the attempt is made though,
Yeah.
regardless
Yeah.
of the outcome.
So, and then I also shared information with the board on the Joe Donovan Group, Public Relations and Communications. I know it was kind of a lengthy document. I am recommending that we consider contracting for the communication services under option 2. It's about $14,000, and that would get us through November. And I feel that would meet all of our needs for public relations and communications regarding the referendum questions going to the voters. I think just running a referendum alone with multiple questions is complex. And I think we want to have clear, non-confusing communications with what that entails, as well as some of the other issues we've been dealing with financial and trying to provide that information to the public in a concise way. And I just think that having experts in that field would be to our benefit. I haven't talked to Brent at WITSEF. I know they have a communications piece in there. This would replace that. My take on that, and I could be mistaken, is that WITSEF would focus more on the bond referendum marketing and PR with that, and would focus more on that, and probably would not provide as a robust campaign for the other issues. So I think the money there would be well spent to build it up.
Question I would have is, for them is, I guess, what's their success rate in referendums?
Okay.
Yeah, does somebody somewhat locally have experience with them? And I guess the other question I'd have is, what's the fiduciary's name, Ellers? What would they have to say? Because they must have encountered these people somewhere, and is there an advantage to us doing that, or are we just duplicating what an Ellers, for instance, is already contracted to do?
I already emailed Matt at Ellers on all this, so I haven't heard back. I just did that today, so, yep.
How did you find out about this?
They provide a service through my superintendent organization, 24/7 emergency communication. So if we had like an example of a bus accident at 7 o'clock in the morning, I can get a hold of them free of charge, and they'll help me get through. All right, here's the steps because sometimes those situations are a little dicey, and having them say, all right, this is the first thing you're going to do, this is how you want to say it, and they'll walk you through those initial emergency communications so that you get the right information out in the right way. And then that's what they specialize across, I think it's national, helping schools with communications and marketing for bond and other levy referendums. So that's what they do. So that's
So if
what they do.
You mentioned that you heard through your superintendent association, I guess that'd be the next question then, is do you know of any school districts that thought it was the best money ever spent, or something like that? I don't spend huge amounts of time on it, but just...
Yep. And they do a lot of the stuff. I'm not sure if Wara would use them, but like the postcard. They will make sure that that's put together and sent out, and but I will look out with other superintendents and see what they suggest. But
and I guess we could do the same thing on a board member basis, right? I mean, ask, find out. I mean, if you can find out that Waro, for instance, used somebody like this or used that specifically, I would certainly call over there. I would. I mean, not asking you to do that, but I would call board member to board member and say, like Boyd said, is this worth what we're doing? And
I can talk to the director of my organization too. I mean, she speaks very highly of them, and she works with districts across the state, or superintendents across the state. So she would probably be the best one for me to reach out, and she could just probably give me a list of these are the schools that have used them. So. The next thing I have is Thursday, where we're going to do the outdoor tour. There's a track meet that night, so we probably don't want to be out there looking at the track and getting in the way of a track meet or pole vault or anything like that. So I'm recommending that we cancel Thursday and reschedule probably next Monday, April 29th at 5:30. Track is at I Falls, and I think baseball's at Pine River and softball's here home against Pine River. So we should be able to tour the facilities without getting anyone's way. You are encouraged to come and watch the track meet on Thursday, since you already had it on your calendar.
I talked to Kurt Storbeck on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
He would love to have the board over there to see what's going on.
Yeah.
He mentioned that he would really enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, he'd like that.
During the track meet?
Right.
Yep, so I would encourage you to go to the track meet, but we will not call it a working session. It'll just be a social time for you to go watch the track, so.
You can see that nice outdoor tent we rebuilt.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think Monday will work, or,
Yes.
and then,
Monday would work.
okay? And we can just do with the one, or if we wanted to see how Monday went, we could schedule one for Thursday to take the information from the 2 tours and start whittling that down, just because we're losing a week if we reschedule.
Well, we could
And
do
we
a
have to-
tour and then see where we're at.
Yeah.
When we get
So
there.
the tricky part though is we have to have 3-day notice for the working sessions, so if we don't schedule it now and we wait till Monday,
Why don't we do like?
We might have to wait till
Monday the
Friday.
6th?
Monday, May 6th for the next one?
Would that work?
I mean, after the 29th meeting?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm good with either Thursday or Monday.
yeah.
Fine with me.
I'm good with either.
Because then we.
the only
already-
thing I need to know, if we were gonna do Thursday, we probably need to post it now rather than wait till Monday, because then we're kinda on the edge of the 3-day notice. If Monday is fine, we can,
Monday's fine, and I don't have a problem with the following Thursday is what I'm saying.
No, I don't.
The
either.
second, you
I
mean.
mean,
So,
I
Monday-
Thursday
if I
the
need
2nd?
to.
Monday, May 6th?
Well, that's what I
So wait,
thought,
we're not
rather
doing this?
than
I'm confused.
meet twice in that 1 week, but
Yeah.
I
So
can do
not
that
Yeah.
April
one.
29th anymore? Are we still doing
Based-
April 29th?
We're gonna meet on Monday, the 29th for sure,
Okay.
and that'll be the outdoor tour.
And then you're saying Thursday the 2nd.
I was bringing that up because probably if we would have met this Thursday, we probably would have scheduled next Thursday, so we're losing a week.
So I feel like we should keep the 2nd, because even if we don't talk
It's
about the
Ruby's
building.
pantry, but that won't affect us, right? Because we're just gonna be in here.
Oh, other than I volunteer for that.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
That's kind of why I thought maybe we should skip.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Can we do May 6th then? Okay, and if we have to start doubling up on
And
weeks,
then we can do the, then we can continue on and do the 9th,
so May 6th,
because we've got a buildings grounds meeting on the 9th already,
So you do a buildings and grounds meeting
before.
before?
So Monday, May 6th at 5:30 also?
yep. Okay,
So the 2 Mondays, the 29th and then the 6th.
is it thundering?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is.
All right, so we'll get it posted for Monday, April 9th, 29th at 5:30, and we'll start here, and then we'll head out. We'll cover a lot of ground, because we're gonna go to the playground. So if someone needs or wants to drive, so it's not such a long walk, we can do that too. Or maybe we can get a Suburban if there's, I don't know.
doing this? I was no doubt.
On the 29th, Monday,
Yeah, there'll be a Suburban.
if we have a vehicle,
Golf is not.
we might just maybe have that, so people that don't wanna walk 3 miles.
I'm no lady, I can.
Okay, let's,
I might
I'm not-
be behind you, but.
okay. All right,
Not
we don't
quick,
need to.
maybe, but I'll get there.
And then the last thing I have, if there's no questions, is I just want to send out kudos to Miss Lowe's and her students for cooking and serving delicious meals. I got to take the chicken rice soup and dinner roll, and it was excellent. And I even got to go in this last week, and they had a local parent expert teaching the kids to cook pot stickers. It was very good. And I had the hot spicy stuff, and ooh, that was, so it's really a cool thing what she's doing with the kids. Kids and probably too many adults don't know how to cook from scratch. They're learning how to cook, take care of themselves. What a life skill. But beyond that, they go and they help budget for buying groceries and even running a small business, because she has them invoice people that order the meal. I haven't got my bill. I have no idea what the cost is. So I think it was good experience. She's been doing it all year. I know Tim had gone in there. So you talk about what people would like. Those are the kinds of things that come in. I think that's the most important thing for board members to see, are those kinds of programs and things going on in the class. So, and I guess I and administration just need to do a better job of getting teachers to say, hey, what are some things you'd like to have board members come in? Because that's really what your role is to kind of support those programs, see what cool things we're doing. I think that's probably the most important thing. That's all I have, unless there's any questions.
I'd like to just add to that comment. When we walked through the tour, lots of it was impressive, obviously, but we walked in that kitchen, and I keep telling Sam, says, go directly to her, but I got to go to Jackie. That kitchen was immaculate. I mean, I was so impressed with how clean that kitchen was. It looked like the stuff was still new, like it hadn't been used. And I know she had just gotten done serving 400 kids not 2 hours prior. So, I mean, it's impressive when you do get yourself in the building, the little things that kind of pop out at you.
Yeah.
You still should send her.
Yeah, I will. But I just wanted, I
just want to make sure she hears that.
Right, I want the public to hear it though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just,
for
it's really impressive.
Yeah, a lot of good things going on
And
here.
the other thing we commented about was the wood shop, how nice the wood shop was.
Oh, yeah,
And how clean. There
yeah.
wasn't even any sawdust in there that I saw.
No kids' fingers laying around.
So, lots of good things happening. There's always things to improve on. We saw some things too that we need to improve on during that tour, and that's just part of the program. But
Artist
lots of
in
good things.
residence, isn't that the term? We were trying to struggle for that
Yes.
the other night, but that's what Isaiah's mom would have been, an artist in
Or
residence.
community expert.
Community expert,
Yeah.
maybe that was it.
Yeah.
What do they call him, Woody? What did they call John Areen when he taught in the band? Or when he played drums every?
I don't know, he was in one of the groups I was in.
But I mean, artist in residence, or, I mean, there was a term they used to apply all the time. I don't remember, something like that, or community expert, anyway.
Community expert.
Okay. Well, the more the merrier in there. Like you said, you got hot pot stickers, so.
It was really good too. All right.
I did have a question just about the survey. Is that,
Jill's going to talk about the survey.
Way to delegate.
That was a nice segue right into the administrative assistant, Jill Olson.
Hello. Just to piggyback on what Jeff was saying, Janelle even has the kids filling out requisitions and getting proper signatures, so. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk quickly about this survey. You guys have all seen it, but it was put into like a report form. I just wanna make sure that all of our staff know and all of the public knows that when I took everything that came in from the survey, it literally, I was looking at it as data. So I don't want anyone to ever be discouraged about if we do this again, like in 2 years, like everything was very confidential. It's just, it was basically putting numbers into the report and then copy and paste comments. So, nothing was added, taken away, any of that stuff. There was no trying to figure out, well, who said this? Like, it was literally just data. So just so everyone out there has that reassurance.
You didn't even correct spelling errors.
I didn't, and that was very
It was very hard.
Although I'm a terrible speller, but I know how to use spell check. Okay, but with that, what I want to get from you guys is how would you like it presented to the staff? And, before I even do that, it was sent to the lawyer, because legally, I wasn't even sure, you know, there are names mentioned. So the lawyer's suggestions were, unfortunately, Jeff's name has to stay in it. We will not take that out. There might have been a few board members mentioned, that will stay in it, but there's other staff members, and it's not a lot, it's maybe 1, 2. Those staff members' names they suggested should be redacted, so that would be covered up. Then if there were any identifiers in the comments, like if someone said, well, I've been teaching this grade this long, that would be an identifier, so they suggested redact that, just so no one can try to, you know, figure out who wrote this comment. Or if someone said,
I'm a first-year teacher.
right, it's like little things like that. And really, it was maybe 1 or 2 things. It wasn't a lot. So they did suggest that be not taken out, but just like, yes. So just so you have that heads up. So anyway, with that, just you guys let me know how you want it presented to the staff, and then how would you like it presented to the public? And I'm not saying it has to be like an official presentation, but do you want it in the board packet the next month? Do you want it emailed out to the staff? Like, how do you want to move forward with this?
Well, I think in our meet and confer, they suggested maybe putting it under the staff tab on the website for the staff, or in the
Employee portal.
In the employee website?
portal, yeah.
Okay.
Or whatever, and then I think in the board packet for the public was what we thought.
Okay.
Yeah, rather
Right?
than
Am
try
I-
to, yeah, rather than
Is
try to
that
just
what I got
push it
from
out
you?
on the public and, you know, put it in an envelope and mail it to every member of the community.
Right.
Make them understand that they're looking for something, or not looking for it, but have access to something.
Like, it's out there, if you
In the
want to
board
see it, it's
packet,
there.
and the board
If you
packet
don't,
is available.
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
But the staff should have in the staff portal I'm not familiar with, but they both, right, Carla, they both felt that was an easy access for them and
Yeah.
appropriate.
Yes, for the staff, they felt that that would be the best way of
Okay.
putting it out to them.
Okay, so then with that, I'll just plan on in May's board packet, I'll put it in there.
Okay.
And then, put it on the employee website tomorrow, in a week, and
Well, how long do you need?
Whatever it takes to redact.
it'll take 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
No, so it's really quick.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
would say
Okay.
just do
I mean,
whenever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whenever it's ready.
And then I'll just shoot them an email saying, hey, this is here, if you want to see
Yeah.
it, great, if you
That's
don't,
good.
you don't have to.
I'm sure you've probably already thought of it, but I do recommend having somebody else look at it once you're done with your redactions, just to double check.
Okay, so I don't miss anything? Yes. Yes, for sure. Okay, sounds great.
Thanks
That's
for
all I
doing it
had.
too. It came out, I thought, really well. I
I thought it was
hope
good.
everybody else
Yeah.
agrees, but the presentation was good.
Yeah.
You had 64.
Yep.
You already had that.
Yes, somebody
Did,
already let me know
And I
about
think I would add that maybe at May, since it's going to be in the board packet, we'd have a discussion on it
Sure.
during the working session, and then we have to decide now what are we going to do with it. I do have some ideas on how to proceed, but I think we should be thinking about now we have this information, what do we want to do with it?
Yeah, because there was some helpful
Yep.
stuff. and-
Yep. So, and I guess my only recommendation, whatever we do with it, it should be driven not just by the board or administration, but it should be staff driven as well.
I was thinking that it should probably be presented in any staff meetings that you have.
Yep.
You know.
And we do have,
Just use this as a tool.
Discuss is what, you know, it should be on the agendas, I would think, for staff meetings.
Anybody have an idea of, did the staff's opinion on the survey, did they like it? Did they
Well,
think
they-
it was good?
Oh, filling it out, you mean?
Well, just the questions and how it was I know you tried very hard to make it as neutral or as
Right.
anonymous as possible and everything. And the questions asked, so you get some of those surveys and the way they ask certain questions, you can tell they don't really want to know the answer. And I didn't get that sense with this one at all. So did anybody happen to know
Was it
if
at
the staff
meeting
thought it was good?
confirmed?
Well, I got some feedback just from individual staff, and they were very happy with a lot of the questions and how there was comment options. And they were very curious to see what other teachers' comments were, to kind of get a feel on if they felt the same way as other staff. That was kind of the feedback I got.
I think in some of the comments too, there was kind of a mixed bag. As some thought it was good, some thought it was kind of a waste of time because nothing's going to change, that type of thing. So there were some comments I know that addressed
In the
those
survey.
questions. In the survey, yeah.
And I guess I will say kudos to everyone who filled out the comment section, because I know I'm not a big fan of filling out comment sections on most surveys, so.
And there was a lot of comments. A lot of people, I mean, we had almost full page responses on some.
Okay, did you have another question, Corinne, or? No. Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
And that means Shane is up with business office.
Okay, I'm just going over the monthly budget report. Your total revenues are as follows. State revenue is at 61% received. Federal revenues at 103% received. Property taxes 49% received. Local revenues 147% received. Food service 65% received. And community ed 10% received. Total all funds 54% received at $5,034,495. I did go over our aid entitlement report. We are running a little behind on our receivables for state aid. And then again, for Lake of the Woods County taxes, we are sitting at 48.8% received. Over the next 3 months, we should be getting the rest of our funds from Lake of the Woods County, but it will actually be quite a bit. And then I just double checked state aids on the report, on this aid entitlement report, just to make sure it shows what we're supposed to be getting, just to see if it's in line with our budget, and it is. It shows that we'll be getting about 5.1 million through the end of June, which is above what I have projected, because we'll also be getting an additional 10%. So as far as revenue goes, we're looking good for the rest of the year, actually above what we've projected. For our expenditures, we are actually, overall, all expenditures combined, we're sitting at 66% for the year. Some areas are a little higher, some areas are a little bit lower. Overall, salaries and wages are about 67%. Employee benefits are at 62% expended. Purchase services, 91% expended. Supplies, 74% expended. Equipment, 90% expended. Food service, 86% expended. Community ed, 63% expended. Total funds are at 70% expended, which is $6,579,298. Overall, we are at a deficit of 1.5 million. In the month of March, in the month of March, compared to February, expenditures were up $198,650. And then revenues were down in the month of March by $213,228.38. We'll be getting more revenues in April. So if we look at the aid entitlement report, which I didn't include in the packet, I just ran it tonight, it shows the fluctuation in state aid from each month. and then usually the county fills in the gap. So.
Is the jump in March a result of
Retros.
retros?
I was
Okay.
just gonna go over that. Yes, we had retro payments. We did have some terminations where we had payout contracts, but I feel it's gonna level off now through the end of the year. We'll have payoffs in June, but keep in mind, we'll have all our revenue, plus we'll have that delayed state aid payment that we'll factor in too.
And as long as I'm asking that question, you said that local revenues were lagging behind a little bit.
County.
Is that a problem with the county, or is that just the way that works? You don't know when you're gonna get your, so I look at our credit line that we've established. Is the county aware of the fact that they got stuff to us in a timely fashion? We may not have to dip into that.
That is a good question. I think it's also dependent on when people pay their taxes too. Like, we'll even, like, they'll send me a sheet that even shows like the amount of our payments that were actually should have been paid to us last year even. But usually in May and June, that's when we get our largest portion of revenue from the county.
Is it lagging? Because like you have to pay your taxes, property taxes in May and October. So what we're going to be paid in the spring, is that what was collected in October, or is it what's collected in May? And if you don't know, it's fine too. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just curious.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Because, I mean,
I would think that
I wouldn't think
what's
they would
collected in May is what we would receive in
June.
May and June.
Yeah.
I just wonder if they're that fast with distributing it. I mean, kind of a 1 month time frame, doing pretty good.
Right.
I could also picture it being the revenue from October. So, I don't know.
But it
you
would also
can't-
kind of make sense if you said that that it would be the collection in May if they were not getting payments to the county, then they have nothing to disperse.
And we'll get small payments throughout the year. Like last month, we got like $2,000. So I know like once they receive payments, they forward on. But
Compared to the last 2 years though, we're
way behind compared to the last 2 years. Yeah.
on the county stuff. Normally, we've collected, last year, it was 75% of what we thought we would collect. And the year before, compared to the year before that, 2022, we had collected 62%, and right now we're not even at 50. So
So is that mean people aren't paying their taxes, or the county's just not paying us?
There was quite a list.
Or they're just hanging out
Check in the
to the
newspaper.
bitter end, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying, I'm not gonna give you this money any more longer than you should have, it kind of thing. Because when's tax date?
May
was-
15th.
is it, wait, it's May and October?
It's May, I'm
May
pretty
and
sure it's
October.
May and October.
15th of
That you
May?
make payments.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
Yep, and then Sam was looking over her supervisor report. I send out monthly, once I complete month end, I send out reports to all the supervisors, which everyone has seen, the budget to actual. It's like a budgetary comparison report. And so when we're doing the budget, I'm accustomed to doing it right in finance. So when Todd was working on our projection for the next couple of years, and even, projecting our fund balances and different things, he does an export into the spreadsheet, and then we put it back into finance. We did find a couple expenditures that were off for the budget, and I know exactly why. It was because it was our spring sports. So last year, we used grant dollars to pay for the spring sports. So they had the revised budget, they're all zero. Well, when I budget in June, I had budget amounts put in. So he just, when he went to update it, he pulled last year's budget. So it wasn't for everything by any means. It was just those things where they were special from last year, those budget things. But then going over Then I noticed that like our para wages are running a little high. I'm gonna go over and just double check the budget again and do another revision, just to make sure we're running on track and just to make those little tweaks too. Just considering our situation, it's a good thing to do again and just revisit it and keep an eye on it. And we had some new codes set up for different funding this year too. I have to make some JEs and move expenses, so it'll be a good time to just clean up some of those items. Like, for instance, our school nurse, we have special funding for them. The nurse is coded there, but just to go through and just make sure the full wage matches the revenue and those different things. We also have the library aid that we got additional dollars for. So when I made the first budget, I budget all the revenue under a miscellaneous code because the state didn't have a new code set up yet. And then same with the expenditures. Then throughout the year, I would set up all new expenditures codes based on what finance dimension the state assigned to it. So just going through and making some tweaks, but other than that, our revenues look right on track and our expenditures are still tracking under, so that is still a good sign. Even health insurance is tracking under too.
So the fourth Monday of each month, moving forward, the supervisors, we have our meeting. And one of the agenda items is their budget. So at that meeting, that's what we talked about today. I yelled at Sam. I said, Sam,
You're spending too much.
what's going on here? So, no, I didn't yell that much, did I?
No, but it's good practice because I mean, I don't know how other supervisors do it, but let's say if I have a coach that comes to me and says, I want to buy X amount over, I say, okay, let me see if I, within your kind of sport, can move some money around to do that. Maybe we're spending less on a coach. But when we pull just supplies, I'm overspending. I promise I'm not. But it did force me to go through and, okay, my ticky-tacky stuff, let me just make sure I'm okay, which then we found, I don't know how much that ended up being, something like $11,000.
Yeah.
Not a huge amount, but, enough that now...
Now it's annoying me.
enough that it's annoying and big enough to do something with. Yeah. So it's a good practice for all of us.
Well, and Sam is special too, where she'll get funds from AAA. So we receive it into revenue. So her expenditures look higher, but we actually have funds to cover it.
Right.
So
like AAA baseball has paid for extra stuff, and they've paid that to us. And we're devising a little bit of a different system. So the school side is cleaner on that front. But there are, there might be situations where AAA donates to something. We've done that with volleyball, like where you guys took a coach bus to a, AAA will donate to a specific expense. So instead of it appearing like it's over, it actually coding it to that expense will right on. So it's ticky-tacky, but it's important, especially when you guys are not in the day-to-day tracking that stuff regularly.
And also business office update. I finished our proposal for getting insurance quotes. So Valor Insurance sent a portal, and so I completed some sections. Jeff did, Dale did, John Botko did. I missed anyone? It's kind of a team effort. So we all go through and update and fill out all these papers, and then I submit them to Valor, and then we'll get quotes for insurance again. We did meet with North Risk Partners last week also, just to see if we should get a quote from them also. So I think
They're at a fee figure, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's, our health insurance is through them, so we're seeing if that's any advantageous to the district to look at them for brokering our liability, so.
And just, talking with my coworkers too, it's beneficial to go with a broker. Like, Valor's been great. I can't say anything, but it's just good to still
get quotes, explore other options too, just to make sure that, you know, we're saving the money that we can. And then, you know, we can seek out different companies. So it's not just, you know, one company. We're getting quotes from several different companies for property, auto, and then work comp, so.
You know, I may have imagined I heard this, there was a blurb on the news about, they were looking at ensuring, or at least, I guess, giving the option of all the school districts kind of combining together, and I did hear it. Okay, good.
Yes, and actually, my boss with SMS did ask that all of us with SMS indicate what companies we're going with, just to see, because from what we've heard, the co-ops are looking to combine everyone just like they do for health insurance, just to get the best rates, just because insurance has gone up so much, just because of inflation. You're having to insure the building for a lot more money than we did 5-10 years ago even, so. But yes, that is actually happening. I mean, even for insurance, they're discussing health insurance, different options for statewide even, making it a state pool instead of the separate co-ops, just to reduce the impact, because we've seen such large increases. Any other questions?
All right, we'll go with Activities Director, Sam Lyon. You weren't on the list, so go ahead. Yeah.
She's not on the list?
She's not on this list. We got a whole paper from her though.
Hello. So first off, football update. We have been trying to figure out, we had a little bit of a rough football season this past year. So over the course of since the end of football season, trying to figure out what our next steps are with the program. In meeting with coaches and students, we had a student meeting. We offered them a survey to see what their interests were. We, as a coaching staff and some administration, have decided to offer a varsity season next year. We'll do a kind of preliminary sign up this spring to see how many kids we get, and then at that point make a decision formally about what the plan is for a varsity team. The caveat to that is that we are going to create a 6th and 7th and a 8th and 9th grade team. So that varsity team will only be 10th through 12th graders. This preserves the 9th graders so that they don't get pulled into a level that they're not ready for. It also allows us to do some much more focused work with the 6th and 7th as a team, a younger team, and then the 8th and 9th as a kind of C team level team. So we'll see how that goes. I think coaching staff and I and admin are all kind of on board for that as the next steps, and I think we'll see what we get for varsity. There is depending on numbers, there's a middling level there where we maybe schedule some JV games if we have a lot of 10th graders who show up. But I think we want to see if that crew of 10th through 12th grade will show up and participate. So, a pool update, just some, generally continuing to have a lot of people at the pool. We have a strong Canadian school contingent showing up over the course of the next couple months. Big Grassy has been here and is going to continue to come. Sturgeon Creek, Rainy River, McCrossan are all showing up for kind of group lessons or afternoon open swim. So they show up, they pay a kind of flat fee for all their kids, covers Lisa's time or a lifeguard's time. So that's exciting because I think, Little Fork does that in the summer with lessons. So it's important for us to acknowledge that it's not just our kids who use that. It's very much a kind of regional thing.
Someone has said that the pool in Fort Francis closed.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Which maybe is why.
I remember you told me that, but someone.
Yeah, I'll maybe have Lisa look into that. And she does a really great job at communicating with those schools and kind of, accommodating their needs and things. We do have a lifeguard class happening the last 2 weekends in June. She's got a list of a number of high schoolers who are interested. We are looking for more adult lifeguards. That is always a need, so if you know anyone. She's having the sheriff's office come in to talk about water safety with some of the younger classes next week. Continue to be birthday parties every weekend, Friday and Saturday. So we really are, I think we've talked a lot about trying to get back up to the level of what the pool was pre-COVID, and I think we're getting there, which is exciting. And I have a confession on this last part in my facilities update. I don't remember what I was going to talk about there. And I think you guys have talked about enough facility stuff that I'm actually going to change that to a few shout outs. You know me, I like to shout out people who are doing well. First off, thanks to the maintenance staff. They've done a lot of kind of flexible moving around with this spring, as well as trying to figure out their own systems for who's doing what. Things like lining fields, all of that stuff. So they've been great to work with. Excited that it's been as flexible and workable as it has, so thank you. Community Ed Track Club has got 44 kids out from kindergarten through 5th grade on Wednesday afternoons, which is such a cool thing. So Jenny Skoog is running it. You all know how I feel about Jenny Skoog. She's amazing. And then she's getting high school kids, the high school track kids. They don't start their practice till a little later on Wednesdays. They are helping run it. So you've got this really cool confluence of both older and younger with a lot of kids involved. It's a really great program. 44 kids is an awesome number. A shout out to Kurt and JP, Kurt Sorbeck, JP Sweet on the track timing system. You'll remember they, through fundraised money, purchased a timing system for track meets and runs and things. They are not only now through that making money for AAA track, they're getting donations from that because they're timing regional meets, but they are also saving the school money because they are not getting charged for our teams to participate in those meets. So tomorrow, they go to Park Rapids. Kurt and JP take this timing system with them. They time the meet. They get paid $500, $800, depends on the meet. And then we also don't get charged as a school for our teams, which can at times run up to $300, $150 for a boys and a girls team. It's not cheap. And that's at every meet we go to. Track tends to be quite expensive for those meets dues. So it's just a follow-up on that, because I know that there was conversation around that when it was first purchased. This is 18 months later. Really a good deal, especially given our financial stuff. And then the last shout out, which gives me goosebumps every time I talk about it, the junior high softball team. They have just gotten their 9th girl to come out. They officially have a full roster. 7 of them have never played softball before. I think my numbers are right, so a little forgiveness. A significant portion of those 7 have never played a sport before. So I want to give a really heartfelt congratulations to that team. They have yet to play a game. We're hoping that Thursday is their first. But the courage and determination that it takes for a 7th or 8th grader to come out for the first time to a sport that you have known nothing about is really remarkable. I give those girls a ton of credit for the kind of guts that it takes. And I give Shayla a lot of credit. That's a tough thing as a coach. They're lovely girls, but how do you teach sport? She's not even just teaching softball. She is teaching sport. So they're an amazing group of kids and an amazing team in general. So I am excited about them. I'm excited to see where the rest of their season goes. Any questions about any of that?
Is that game at home on Thursday?
You're testing my memory. I think it's away on Thursday in Kelliher. I think baseball is home on Thursday against Kelliher also.
We're not trying to get a track meet.
Bruce Shaler is there, yes.
Yeah, we got a lot to do, don't we?
I was kind of suggesting that you should do your tour on Thursday, because you get track, baseball. So, it's just there's a lot going on Thursday. Anything else?
Do they still have a community ed softball thing? I know Rachel did it.
In the summer, yep, we do a summer ball. So far have a good turnout for signups. So I think we're actually going to end up having 2 teams, which has been a number of years since that's happened.
Adult
but-
league.
What's up?
An adult league, is that what you mean,
Nope,
or just
no,
summer?
Kids, yeah. So this is, travel ball. We typically do like 3rd through 5th, 6th.
It was really quite interesting because a lot of time was spent in the chants, the on first do that, on second and stuff. They went, and the other team would do stuff. And they played a little softball.
All of the situations. That's the challenge about softball, baseball, right? You're teaching circumstances. We do have a good, and that's the same for travel baseball too. So that's our structure. Is we do T-ball, which is 4 through 6-year-olds. Rookie ball is 7 and 8-year-olds. We might do a little bit of travel, like play a game or 2 with rookie ball, but for the most part, those are both in town, like 1 to 2 times a week. And then we do travel softball and travel baseball, and that's where the kids diverge into different sports. Baseball will have a 10U, maybe 2 10U teams, depending on exactly how many kids we get. 10U, 12U, and probably like a 15U, maybe 17U, depending on a couple of older boys. A lot of Canadian boys are coming out for baseball, which is exciting. We are co-opt with them in our varsity. So, anything else? Great.
Thank you.
Food service, yes and no, so we'll go right into there.
Yeah, we do have
Hang
food
on,
service.
What?
Right there.
So Jackie just put in that we're going out for milk bids soon for next year already. And they served 3,300 breakfasts and 5,800 lunches in March.
She made note of that because that's like an all-time record, or is that, I mean, that's a lot, seems like to me, 5,800.
It's a good factoid to put.
Well, she put a smiley face with it, so I'm assuming that means it's really pretty.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Put a smiley face in the pics.
Oh,
Anything else? Okay, now we'll go.
Mary's been chopping.
I thought I was getting out of it.
Good evening. Yeah, I did end up with a lot of bullets on mine. This week I have a principals meeting. I'm looking forward to going. I haven't been to one since November, so hopefully it's quiet in the building. But I know with Mr. Nelson there, it'll be just fine. Prom, April 27th, so this weekend, and we'll start out with the visit to the care center, which they always love when our students go there all dressed up and looks so nice, and then Grand March in the auditorium, followed by the dance. And you mentioned you guys referred to it as what, Bear Bog, Big Bear? How'd you refer to the bog field trips?
Big bog, bears in the bog.
Bears in the Bog, that's it. Okay, I'll catch on to the lingo. Anyway, they are scheduled for May 16th and 17th, so that's when they will be making that trip. I know there will be a couple in-town field trips we don't quite have on the calendar yet for the elementary students, where they go to the park and do a few other things. And then second grade, their annual trip to see how root beer is made. We have the book fair scheduled, and this is the buy one, get one book fair for having the third one in the year, and that'll be the week of May 15th through the 17th when the kids will be able to go and purchase those. And then MHS induction and scholarships is May 15th, and our senior trip the 17th and 18th. And baccalaureate is scheduled for the 22nd. And thanks to Sam and her coordinating and everything for that, we are now going to make that the week when it will be from now on, because we always do our awards that second to the last week, the scholarships and induction. And so that last Wednesday will make it so people will know we don't have to try and scramble and look for dates with how busy everything is in the spring.
And then the athletic and academic awards that are during the school day will be Tuesday, the 20th in the auditorium. And then graduation practice for our seniors, the 21st. And then elementary and high school summer school will take place the 4th through the 14th. And Jackie is all set to prepare breakfast and lunch for the kids for those 2 weeks also. And then registration for classes next year, I didn't get that on my bullets here, will be next week, April 29th and May 1st for the students. And we'll start with our juniors, so if we have to make any tweaks, it's always, you always look as you create the schedule and hope it's pretty close, but it will really be driven if we switch some electives into different periods based on how it falls in place when our juniors register, and then go down from there. And yeah, I'm happy to say we have a new sophomore who started this morning, so. Any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mary.
I was gonna say, right at the top there, you're going to a principal's meeting, but just like we were talking about with Jeff going to superintendent's meeting, it's a discussion topic, I think, about referendum as well. I mean, those are probably running across people who've gone through that as well, but I would encourage you to have some back and forth if that's appropriate.
Absolutely, yep. We always have that open time for networking.
Okay, that's it for the reports. Citizens forum. Anyone? Going once, going twice. We'll adjourn the working session. Anybody need a break? Otherwise, we will go right into the regular one at 7:25 p.m.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Pledge agenda. Need a motion and second to approve the April 22nd, 2024 meeting agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis.
Second by Lyon.
Second by Lyon. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Any board presenters? Hearing none. Written communication? Hearing none. Old business, summary of superintendent mid-year evaluation.
I have a brief.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna read it
No?
because I don't know, it's kind of like the redacting part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm gonna let you, but I just wanted to make sure that I put it in the Google Doc, that you had sent me. I don't know how that now goes into the official record.
Yep.
But I will let you summarize. I mean, I think there's more, I didn't do a whole lengthy thing, but I just think there's more that I'm not gonna say because it was a closed session.
Yep. Closed session. I think we've discussed some of it with Jeff, and overall, everybody thought we should keep you on. So you're forced to continue on. You're serve your sentence. Yeah, it's kind of like a sentence to serve sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know how much we can say in here. We've told you some of the details.
Yeah, we talked about basically what we feel are still, or, shortcomings, things you need to, work better towards. I talked a lot about the financial component of it, just where we're going with that. And once again, there was disagreement, it was not a split board by any means, but just in terms of directions that, we needed to go in terms of how we evaluate you. We had different ideas on it, but I think the whole idea of the evaluation becomes more specific in the June meeting when we can actually, but I think traditionally that's when we get down to a more nuts and bolts kind of so it was more general discussion than anything, so.
And I guess ultimately you have the confidence of the board and we support our superintendent.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to add? disagree, just in case I said something wrong, but that was the takeaway. Okay, well, hearing nothing else, we'll move on to new business. Need a motion and a second to approve the March 25th, 2024 school board meeting minutes.
I'll motion.
Motion by Carla,
Second by Lion.
second by Lyon. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need a motion and a second to approve the invoices, financial statements, bank reconciliations, wire transfers, and purchase card statement.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Trask,
I'll second that.
second by Ellis. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need approval of personnel resignations, retirements, and appointments. Need a motion second to approve the resignations and appointments as presented. Resignations, Diane Carlos, elementary teacher. Appointments, Kyle Abendroth.
Yep.
Interim lead custodian. Dale Fuller, interim lead maintenance technician.
And I have to abstain.
And Carla's abstaining.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sonstegard,
Second by Lion.
second by Lyon. Any further discussion?
How long was, Diane Carlos has fit a lot of little
She
spots for
came
us, or-
right during COVID. I want to say 3 years, 4 years. This would be the 4th year. Yeah.
But she's been kind of a
She's
utility
been
infielder for
all
us.
over the place, yeah,
Yeah.
as far as filling in. And, yeah. I think she started off as a part-time bus driver and enrichment coordinator was the first thing they had her doing.
Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need a motion and a second to approve resolution 2023/2024-26 proposing the placement of a continuing contract / tenured teacher, excuse me, on unrequested leave of absence.
Let's go. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Sonstegard,
Second.
second by Lyon. Any discussion? You sound like you're starting.
No, I
Okay.
just, I don't want to spout off the top of my head, so I won't go further with that. Just, I understand where we're going with this, and I understand what's being done there, so I'm okay with that. We have to do a roll call vote on this.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. We'll just go off the top of my head. We'll go Lyon,
Aye.
Sonstegard,
Aye.
Rabita,
Aye.
Trask,
Aye.
Ellis,
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Motion carries. Anything else? We'll call it adjourned at 7:31.
Okay, turn off your mics.